Hey ManCave, this is Bob from DaBob's N-Scale ManCave, and this is layout day. I'm going to show you a bunch of layouts that they have here at the N-Scale convention. We have a T-Trak represented, we have N-Trak NRail, what's called NRail now, and we also have Free-MoN N-Scale. And we'll cover all of these and show you what these things are all about. Let's go take a look at T-Trak first. As we head into the Bell Mead room here at the Sheraton, Nashville, Tennessee, you can see there's a huge layout here. Bunch of modules connected together in one large layout. There's 4 peninsulas just all connected together, and what really stands out, of course, is this St. Louis Arch module. There's 2 modules put together to make that huge display. And then we have a Caddo Alaska Railroad SD70M coming in to take a tour underneath the Gateway Arch. It is so impressive. I mean, they did a really good job on this, and I believe it's to scale. Or it seems like it's to scale, I don't know. But, well, I wonder how fast this train is going. AccuTrack 2 speedometer says 32 miles per hour, which is pretty standard. And as you can see, there's a lot of different modules connected together with different scenes. Different people make different things. So this module standard is solely based off of Caddo Unitrack as the choice of track to use. You have to have it to connect modules together. So you can use other types of track like this Atlas Flex Track and switches, and it can be used in between the ends if you want to, but you have to connect using the unit track. Now the benefits are that it's easy to set up and tear down. The small modules are easier to make, store, and transport. It's compatible worldwide with modules from anywhere. Japan, China if they make it, Germany, wherever. So these modules must comply with standards that are described on the nrail.org website. These include module standards, track and placement, electrical, and bus standards. So this type of display is placed on standard folding tables so that they are easy for all ages to see, and many consider T-Trak as an entry-level style of setup that is family-oriented and inexpensive to build. Many people in a club can get together and run their trains or combine clubs to build large exhibits like at this convention. Many creative modules are out there to enjoy, like this one here, and this one here. Bunch of lights and flashing. You can put a bunch of things in here. At this convention, I saw a Star Wars set of modules, a snow scene, and of course the huge St. Louis Arch modules, and many other creative scenes like these. All of these are connected together in a giant shape. Some of these limitations kind of limit what you can make, but basically everything's large rectangular kind of shapes, and you can make huge things if you want to.
DSX, equipment, defect, detector, milepost 5.3, track number 2, no defect. Have a safe day in the transmission. Defect.
We have what we call a diabetes train, and as you can see, there's a lot of sugary substances being transported around here. Jelly Bellies and Hershey's chocolate and bubble gum and Baby Ruths, and you better have an insulin pen for you just in case. We are doing the NRail modules right now. Let's take a look. We have one set of one club over here on the left side and another club over on the right. The one on the right's a little bit bigger setup, but what was really impressive was this castle with a dragon up on top. You can take dragon rides.
I guess fitting the rules of that.
So, pretty detailed display right here. A lot of fine fencing and building details. A lot of the N-Rail is on 2 levels. You can see over in there, but most of it's all on 1 level. You may know this as N-Trak, but they changed their name to N-Rail in 2021. It is the oldest standard, which came about in 1973 to help promote N-scale model railroading. The standard module is a 2-foot by 4-foot rectangle that has 3 tracks, which are mainline community tracks. All other tracks are optional and created for a specific purpose, like a yard or siding. It is considered an advanced level standard and the most common. It was adopted based on the HO standard that they have for their train shows as well. The top of the rail is set to 40 inches from the floor, or a level reference point if the floor is uneven. The usual focus for the display is from one side only, the public side. There is a backdrop on one side, scenery, and then you get to the tracks on the other side. This is effective for shows and gives the operators a place to stand away from the crowd on the inside of the loop. Now, pros and cons. It has 3 tracks, and it gives you the variety to run more trains at the same time. Everyone is using the same standard, which can be connected to many different modules. It's 40 inches high, which makes it easier to see by shorter people, like teenagers and pre-teens. The Code 80 track is a standard size, but you can use Code 55 if you want to, because it's widely available and inexpensive. Now the cons, it's 40 inches high, which means that really small children can't see it well. Ones in strollers and so forth. You got to pick them up and you got to carry them around, put them on a stool or something like that so they can see it. The typical layout is set up in a giant square or rectangle loop. That doesn't really fit in with a lot of prototypical kind of settings. Like, well, 3 main lines. They're rare in reality. You do not really have a point-to-point kind of setup with reverse loops and the such. The basic DCC system standard is set to Digitrak's compatibility, and you normally don't have a mix of systems on your layout, but you can do that. I have seen that happen, and it's kind of restrictive in my opinion, but gotta have a standard. The jumper tracks between modules are not ballasted, and they look out of place in the scene, and you can tell where they are. It's just it just kind of, you can see that there's something wrong there. Now this standard is just the starting point and the minimum requirement. There are upper level inner tracks that have maybe a standard that are usually set up by the club or designed as a particular set of modules, which those must be made to fit to a specific module only. And sometimes in this scene you can't even go past that point. So that's basically N-Trak, and it is that mid-level, advanced level kind of model railroading, and the typical home layout kind of style that most people have skills to do, and which is great. It kind of matches what I do.
takes off.
Bobby gonna catch me. The hand of God again.
Yeah. Only here.
Good thing there's editing. Okay, North Raleigh N-Trak.
Okay, all right, so that's the one.
On this module here,
Okay, I was there.
they use
One of the things I
these
was that
switches
had
here
prototype for the
to switch the track manually. And then when you switch the track, it will change the direction of this light. So if I go,
So yeah, I
if I go like this,
really short trip.
it changes the light. Pretty cool. On a big layout like that, it really helps finding out where your path is going and which is the correct way versus the wrong way. Pretty neat. Okay, we are now at the Free-MoN layout here in the lobby of the hotel. Let's take a look at what Free-MoN has to offer. So Free-MoN is free modular, if you haven't figured that out by now. This standard is considered the prototypical operation standard and is regarded as pro level. It is designed to provide freedom in module building to break away from that 2x4 cookie cutter standard that is of N and T-Trak. The detail of each module is expected to be of a higher standard to reflect reality as much as possible. Operations are the expected use for these modules, so yards, industry sidings, and other features can be modeled to replicate reality. This standard utilizes aspects of NRail and modifies it to a freer standard. There is also no club fees or memberships to worry about. Now, as you can see, this is just going everywhere they want to go. The modules are angled so that you can match it up and make something go where you want it to go to fit the room that you're in. It uses Pico code 55 track and switches, which are electrofrog switches, to help with keeping electricity going to your locomotives when it goes over that frog, in case that happens. Makes it a lot easier. And you can just bend and make things go where they want to. And like there's this module right here. You know, it looks out of place, but that's because this module right here was part of those other two modules that were over on that corner. So they just took that one of them and it gave them just the amount of twist to get around that post and to get tracked down to that other side of the room. Now you can also make bridges and all sorts of other scenes to go with this. And it looks pretty great. So since it uses that code 55 and a 50-inch rail height from the floor, the module standards only mention the minimum material and size for the end pieces that butt up to another module. 12 inches is the minimum width, and there isn't a maximum. It's a minimum of 6 inches high on the end piece. The max is whatever you can haul in a truck or trailer and the room it is set up in. So you can have a 5-foot wide section, as long as it fits. So the layout restrictions do not really exist unless you run out of space to set up. Modules can be 1 foot square to 8 feet long, or 1 to 360 degree curves, an end piece that is a reverse loop, even crossings. The point is that it is like Tetris. Make it fit in the space you have. If you need to go a different direction, turn the module around or put in a different curve section. You are free to make it into anything that will work. The standard difference that jumps out at you is that there isn't a jumper track in between modules. The track butts up flush to the other module's track. This is why the material standard of using a 3/4 inch birch plywood is used. It is a high quality of wood that doesn't warp and will be flat. There also isn't any rail connectors between the modules. It is all connected via the bus line. Now there's some pros and cons. Well, there's a lot of pros. First one being there's a high level of detail in operations. Prototypical scenery detail. Operations can be done if desired. You have a 50-inch to 64-inch height from the floor. You use code 55 rail. There's no club membership or dues. You own your modules. It can be set up differently every time. Can be operated from both sides, no public side. Sense of pride and accomplishment to build and operate at a high level. And simple end plate specification allows for home layout integration. Plus you have no jumper track to worry about. The scene looks seamless. Now what are the cons? Well, it's a 50-inch rail height is too high for children to see without an adult or stools. Probably don't want them up there with this high level detail anyway. But the strict standards can cause design issues or compatibility with another module. So track placement or humps could cause decoupling. So you got to make it very, very tight and functional. A pro and a con is you have to pay closer attention to other trains so that there isn't a bottleneck on single tracks. And it takes longer to set up when issues arise in layout design. You may have to move some stuff around. Lots of time to get the track evened out and clamped together. Now I really like this type of model railroading. It is so customizable to what fits the situation. Many people have their modules set up as part of their home layout. They just take all or part of it to a show. They put in signals and crossings that work along with other animation and lighting effects. Buildings, bridges, mountains, and other things are also displayed. Fantasy scenes can be made, but they usually are not, like flying saucers and bedazzled locomotives. This layout was open for anyone to run their newly purchased locomotive, to test it or pull a train of cars they bought. I ran a sample version of a Broadway Limited steam locomotive and that they had lent me, and my new Kato UPSD 70 Ace with some of my new cars. Let's check out some of my favorite scenes from this weekend. Well, there you go, ManCavians. That's been the end of this layout tour of the N-Scale Convention in Nashville, Tennessee this year. It was a kind of a great show and convention. I really enjoyed the layouts. I got to run on the Free-MoN layout. It was really, really fun. And I'm thinking about making myself a module. What do you think? Yeah, it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. So, leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me what you liked. Consider subscribing as well, and ring that bell so you get notified of future videos like this one. And as always, ManCavians, happy model railroading. You stay off those tracks. Bye.